Okay, let's unpack this. You know that moment you're really fired up about something big.
Yeah.
Starting a business maybe, or learning a language, getting fit. You can almost taste it.
You see the end result.
Exactly. And then, well, reality hits. The sofa looks really good.
Yeah.
Or maybe you just check one notification and suddenly it's 2 hours later.
Down the rabbit hole. It sounds familiar.
It really does. That feeling of being, I don't know, ambitious but lazy.
That's a great way to put it. It's this clash between what we want and, well, the actual effort involved. A lot of us live there sometimes.
Totally. And that's exactly what we're going to dive deep into today. We're not here to shame you for scrolling.
No, I know that.
Instead, we want to figure out why this happens and, more importantly, give you some, genuinely smart ways to get things done. We looked at this great YouTube transcript from Speak English with Class. Really useful stuff in there.
Yeah, it was. Our mission for this deep dive is pretty simple, really. We want to give you a shortcut, help you understand these strategies and actually use them.
Right, so you can work with that lazy feeling, not just fight it constantly.
Exactly. Think of it as bridging that gap
Mm-hmm.
between the dreams and the daily grind.
Okay, let's get right into it then. What's the science? Why are we ambitious but lazy? What's happening up here?
Well, it's fascinating, actually, how our brains are set up. They're fantastic at dreaming big, right? Picturing that success.
Yeah, the finished novel, the marathon medal.
Exactly. That generates excitement, possibility.
Yeah.
But then you face the actual work. And our brains have this instinct to conserve energy.
Ah, so big effort feels like a threat, something to avoid.
Sort of, yeah. It's an efficiency thing deep down.
Yeah.
Avoid massive energy expenditure unless absolutely necessary.
That makes so much sense. I can picture myself crossing the finish line of a 10K feeling amazing.
Right.
But then I think about all the training runs, getting up early, and suddenly staying in bed seems like the only logical option.
Precisely. The 10K or the marathon of the source, it's a good analogy. That huge goal can feel impossible from the starting line.
Overwhelming.
Totally overwhelming. And that feeling, it paralyzes you. Leads straight to avoidance. Hello, couch. Hello, TikTok.
So the key is shifting focus
Yes. Away from the entire marathon.
and just on to putting your running shoes on, that first step.
Exactly that. Which leads us nicely into the first trick we found. It's about how you even frame your tasks. It's called the reverse to-do list or past tense planning.
Past tense planning. Okay, intriguing. So instead of I need to do XYZ,
You write about your day as if it's already finished. Successfully.
how does that work? Give me an example.
Okay, so instead of writing need to study tonight, which can feel heavy.
Yeah, already feels like a chore.
Right, you'd write something like, okay, I sat down, I focused, studied for a good hour, even took a break, felt great afterward.
Oh, I see. So it's like you're telling yourself a success story before it happens.
Exactly. Compare a typical stressful list. Gym, study 2 hours, clean apartment, finish work project. Just looking at it is tiring.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Stressful.
No, the past tense version. Went to the gym for 30 minutes, felt refreshed. Then studied for 2 hours easier than I thought. Even cleaned up and finished the project before dinner. Felt super accomplished.
Wow. Okay, the second one feels way less intimidating. It's like my brain already got the reward feeling. But does it feel a bit fake writing it before you do it?
That's a fair question. It might feel a bit odd at first, but it's about the intention. You're not trying to, fool yourself in a bad way.
Okay.
You're creating a really clear mental picture of success and the positive feeling that comes with it. It's a kind of mental rehearsal. Reduces the anxiety.
Okay, I get that. And what if even writing a whole successful day feels like too much?
Good point. You can scale it right down. Just focus on one thing.
Right.
Like, I finished that work project today and it felt great. Just that one completed task.
Yeah.
That positive statement can be enough to shift your mindset.
And visualize the feeling too, right? The source mentioned that.
Yes, definitely. Picture that sense of accomplishment. It makes it easier to start.
Okay, I like that. So we've got a way to trick ourselves into starting. But what about when the task itself is just boring, utterly mind-numbingly dull?
Ah, yes. Because let's face it, not every step is thrilling, is it?
Definitely not. Filing taxes comes to mind.
Right. So that brings us to the next strategy. Making work feel more like play. Or at least less like work.
Ooh, I like the sound of that. If it's a total grind, motivation just evaporates.
Exactly. But even a little bit of enjoyment, that can be a game changer. We naturally move towards things that are engaging, right? And away from monotony.
So find ways to inject some fun or just pleasantness.
Precisely. Small changes can make a big difference. The source mentioned cleaning while listening to music, classic example.
Yeah, I do that. Makes it bearable.
Or just changing your location.
Sure.
Working somewhere different, grabbing a nice coffee while you do it, little things.
Okay, simple enough. But what about harder stuff, like studying something really complex? How do you gamify, learning physics formulas?
Well, you can. Gamification is powerful. Set a timer, maybe just 10 or 15 minutes. Challenge yourself. How much can I understand or memorize in this block?
Creates a bit of urgency.
Yeah, and a sense of challenge. Or rewards. Promise yourself something small. You enjoy a coffee break. 5 minutes of scrolling after you finish a defined chunk of work.
So little dopamine hits along the way, instead of just the slog.
Exactly. You're rewarding the effort, not just waiting for the big finish line.
Okay, I can see that working now.
Yeah.
What about starting things but not finishing? I'm so guilty of this. I start strong, then just fizzle out.
Ah, the fizzle. Yes, there's a trick for that too. It uses something called the unfinished task effect, or the Zeigarnik effect.
Zeigarnik. Okay, fancy name. What is it?
It's named after a psychologist who noticed something interesting. Wait staff remembered orders they hadn't delivered yet much better than ones they'd already completed.
Huh. That is interesting. So our brains just hate leaving things open.
Pretty much. There's this, mental tension around incomplete tasks. Our minds want to resolve them to get closure. Think about Netflix.
Oh, boy.
That cliffhanger ending, you feel that pull to watch the next episode, right, even if it's late.
Absolutely. It drives me crazy sometimes. I have to know what happens.
That's the Zeigarnik effect.
Yeah.
Your mind wants to close the loop. And we can use that.
Okay, how? How do we harness this need for closure?
It's surprisingly simple. Don't focus on finishing the task. Just focus on starting.
Just start.
Just start, even the tiniest bit, because the moment you begin, you create that open loop. Your brain's natural tendency will then nudge you to keep going, to resolve that unfinished feeling.
So instead of I have to write this whole report, I just say, okay, I'll just write the first sentence.
Precisely. That first sentence is often the hardest part, right? Getting over the inertia. But once it's down, your brain doesn't like leaving it orphaned.
Huh. Orphan sentence. I like that.
You might find yourself writing the next one, then maybe a paragraph. The momentum builds. It's subtle, but it works against that initial resistance.
That almost sounds too easy, but I get it. Lower the barrier to entry, let the brain's own wiring do some of the work. Okay, so starting, making it fun, keeping momentum. But what if I'm busy doing the wrong things? Busy but not actually productive.
Ah, yes. The busy trap. It's so common.
I have days like that. Feel exhausted, but my main goals haven't moved an inch. Just answered a million emails or something.
Exactly. Being busy isn't the same as being effective. All that email checking, file organizing.
Yeah.
It feels productive, but is it moving the needle on what really matters?
Probably not, a lot of the time.
That's where the Eisenhower matrix comes in. It's a tool for prioritizing.
Okay, the urgent, important thing, right? I've heard of it, but how do you actually use it?
It's pretty straightforward, really. You sort tasks into 4 boxes based on 2 questions. Is it urgent? Is it important?
Okay.
Box 1. Important, A&D urgent. These are crises deadlines. You do these now.
Got it. Firefighting.
Box 2. Important, but not urgent. This is the crucial one. Strategic stuff, learning, exercise, planning. You schedule these. Protect time for them.
Ah, the things that often get pushed aside.
Exactly. Box 3. Urgent, but not important. Lots of interruptions fall here. Emails, some meetings. The goal is to delegate these if you can, or minimize them.
Right. They feel pressing, but don't really serve my goals.
Precisely. And box 4. Neither urgent nor important. This is the stuff to delete or drastically reduce. Mindless scrolling, some TV, busy work that doesn't add value.
Okay, ouch. So my late night dive into productivity videos probably lands in box 4 sometimes.
It certainly can if it becomes procrastination, yeah.
Yeah.
The power isn't just the boxes, it's the act of thinking about each task.
Yeah.
Where does it truly fit? A good question to ask is, does this directly help my long-term goals? If not, it's probably not important, even if it feels urgent.
Okay, that's a helpful filter. So I list my tasks, sort them, and then I can see where my time is actually going.
Exactly. It gives you awareness. You might realize half the urgent stuff can wait or be delegated or just isn't worth doing. It helps you make conscious choices.
Work smarter, not just harder. Got it. Okay, another big hurdle for me, and probably lots of people, is just the fear of sucking at something new.
Oh, absolutely. Fear of failure, perfectionism.
Sometimes I won't even start because I'm afraid I won't be instantly good at it.
And that right there is perfectionism leading straight to inaction, which looks a lot like laziness, doesn't it?
It really does. I wanted to learn guitar once, strummed a few awful chords, decided I had no talent, and quit.
Classic example. We forget that being bad at something first is, well, it's the only way to eventually get good at it. It's part of the process, not a sign to stop.
Intellectually, I know that, but emotionally,
Hmm.
it's hard. How do you get past that fear?
The source had a really cool suggestion for this. Intentionally embrace being bad at something. Pick a hobby where the stakes are zero.
Deliberately choose something I'll be terrible at, like interpretive dance in my living room, or baking something chaotic.
Exactly. Something where the goal is just enjoyment. Or the process itself, not a perfect outcome. Bad dancing, messy baking, drawing stick figures, whatever.
Okay. Why? How does that help?
Because it helps you detach your self-worth from your performance. When you can just play and experiment without pressure, you weaken that fear of failure muscle.
Ah, I see. So you get more comfortable with imperfection generally.
Right. And that comfort can bleed over into other areas. You become more willing to try things, to be a beginner again, which is where all the growth happens.
Building up your tolerance for sucking, basically. Okay, that's really interesting. So let's say I do all this. I use past tense planning, make tasks fun, ride the Zeigarnik wave, prioritize, embrace my inner terrible dancer. How do I make it stick? How do I stop sliding back into old habits?
Great question. This brings us to the last trick, which is all about mindset again. Thinking like your future successful self.
Ooh, okay. Like envisioning who I want to be.
Kind of, but more active than just envisioning. It's about aligning your current actions with that future self. Instead of asking, what should I do right now, which can feel like a chore,
Yeah, shoulds are heavy.
ask, what would the successful future version of me do in this situation?
Ah, I like that switch. So if I want to be fitter, instead of, should I work out, I ask, would fit future me skip this workout?
Exactly. It reframes the choice. It connects your immediate action to the identity you're building. Your brain starts to identify with that future self, and your behavior naturally starts to shift to match.
Okay, that's powerful. How do I make that practical day to day?
The source suggested a neat exercise. First, be honest. Write down your current daily routine, habits, time wasters, everything.
Fewer it's in all version.
Yes. Then write down the ideal daily routine of your successful future self. What habits do they have? How do they spend their time?
Okay, the aspirational version.
Then compare the two lists, side by side. Identify the gaps. And then this is key, pick small, actionable habits you can start now to bridge that gap.
So it's not about a massive overhaul overnight.
No, it's about tiny, consistent steps aligned with who you want to become. What's one thing future you does that current you can start today?
That feels much more doable, making small choices my future self would approve of.
You got it. You're essentially building the path to becoming that person, one small decision at a time.
Wow. Okay, these aren't just rules, are they? They feel more like mental judo, using your own tendencies to your advantage.
That's a great way to put it. It's about understanding yourself, the ambition, the laziness, the brain's quirks, and finding smart ways to guide things in the right direction. Working with yourself.
Not just fighting yourself.
Exactly. The core idea is finding these actionable tricks that help you navigate that feeling of inertia, rather than seeing it as this constant enemy.
So, for everyone listening,
Yeah.
thinking about those big goals, maybe think about this. What's just one small habit your future successful self does consistently? Could be packing a healthy lunch, could be 10 minutes on that language app, could be writing one sentence for that project. What's that one thing you could start, like, today?
And related to all this discussion, remember some of that vocabulary we touched on, words like ambitious, overwhelmed, procrastination, instinct, accomplished, distractions, perspective, perfectionism, cliffhanger, delegating, binge watching.
Yeah.
Understanding those words really helps you think and talk about this stuff, your own productivity,
Yeah.
your habits, gives you the language for it.
Absolutely. Well, this has been fascinating. Thanks so much for diving deep with us on this. Hopefully it's given everyone some fresh ideas and maybe more importantly, some actual tools to use.
Yeah, tools to chase those ambitions without getting totally lost on the couch. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.